I'm going to touch on vision percentages in this video. I've got another video on here about vision and awareness, mainly in shooting. This one's shooting and puck handling, but just talking about percentages and a way to monitor vision habits. It's something, it's near and dear to me because it was my biggest deficiency and I didn't realize it until I was done playing. When I kind of got to the end of junior, I could realize that the game was getting fast, or there was something just not working quite as well as it should, and it was my vision habits. And I always talk about growing up in a small town, having lots of ice with not too many people on the ice. Vision wasn't something that we practiced or really had a tendency to work towards. It was more important for us to put our heads down and blast the big slap shot than it was to have our eyes up and shoot. When you're not stressed with time and space constraints, players tend to want to put their eyes on the puck or shoot without getting their head up. So it's one thing that your environment, your training environment, can really affect what your vision habits are. So we have to be deliberate and monitor it. So a really good way to do it is kind of just look for percentages and look for trends in your players. So with this one, I'm gonna just run a few drills here, and there's about 4 different segments here. When you watch the player handling the puck, just think in percentages. What percentage is the player's eyes on the puck, and what percentage is their eyes up scanning the environment, either A, looking for passes, or B, looking for threats. So I'll let these clips run here. And first one's a moving puck handling drill. Second one's a stationary puck handling drill. And then here's McDavid. This is a good clip. This was when he was probably 13 or 14, it looks like. But again, when you look at percentages here, there's something that is quite a bit different than the others.
Every single drill, his head is up and he's calling out numbers. What's happening is, if you imagine the camera guy, the guy behind the camera, is going 1, 5, 4, 2. This forces McDavid to keep his head up while he's stick handling. If you're a coach or an instructor, this is a great way to work with a player to get them to keep their head up, but also not overthink situations. While they're looking at your hands and trying to read what number you have, they're not thinking too much about what they're doing, and they're letting their body just naturally go through these motions and learn and acquire skills.
So shout out to Coach Jeremy there, How To Hockey. His stuff is excellent. And if you're coaching youth hockey, check out his 11 Fundamentals of Skating series that he has on his YouTube channel. It's probably the best instruction for teaching players how to skate at the initiation novice level. And honestly, some of it is the fundamentals go all the way through, so it's a really good series. Hopefully I don't get pinched and have to take that down, but very good stuff on that channel. So when we look at those percentages, we could see the differences between the few drills there. And a lot of times we wonder, well, when can you start introducing specific or deliberate vision training? So if you watch this player here, this player must be all of 4 years old. Again, think about percentages. What percentage are his eyes up? What percentage are his eyes down as he goes through this? So that's a 4-year-old, probably. I would say he can't be 5 years old yet, but his habits already, he's over 50% just by being deliberate on it. So if we leave that to chance, every player, every person handles the puck or the ball better when they're looking at it. So if we don't force them to handle it by feel and check it once in a while or keep track of it with peripherals, they're going to default to down where they're looking at the puck most of the time. And here's another powerful visual image of this is a panoramic picture versus a group of pictures that are stitched together. So if you think about a player that plays with their head down versus a player that plays with their head up, this is almost what it feels like or looks like. And when I kind of started getting into this made sense to me. Is at each one of these splices, that's looking at the puck or having your head down. So if you think about it, your brain has to stitch this information together. Every time you look down at the puck, when you get your head back up, there's a little bit of information that's missing, so your brain has to stitch it together to try to make it look like the bottom photo, and that makes your processor or your brain slow down, and it doesn't let you make decisions and make reads as quickly when you're looking down. And you know, even these white lines between this on the top picture, the white lines are fairly narrow. That would still be pretty good vision percentages. But if you think about the time that players spend with their head down, that white line would probably be, you know, even a little bit larger, each one of those white lines, how much time they have their eyes down versus how much time they have their eyes up. So stitching together images is something your brain has to do and process. And when players have their eyes up and are scanning, watching it like a panoramic or watching the game like it's a movie, it's much easier to stitch that information together and make decisions and make reads. So we talk about teaching hockey IQ. While this is the building blocks of hockey IQ, if you can see what's going on around you and process that information quickly, that's hockey IQ in a nutshell. So really interesting, and a good way to see what your team is doing or see tendencies by other teams and different levels is during warm-up, go stand behind the net and watch when this is happening, when players are just skating around shooting in that butterfly pattern. You can even see in here some players are down the whole way, some players are up the whole way, and then everything in between. Some check the puck 2 or 3 times, but go stand down behind the net when this is happening at a Atom game, at a Pee-wee, Bantam, Midget, Junior. Watch everything and you'll see the higher levels, the percentages go up dramatically at how many players have their eyes up when they release a puck. And that's the building blocks to it, is just this right here. So most players will shoot, they'll shoot with their eyes down, and when the puck leaves their stick, that's when their eyes come up. But if you watch Tarasenko here, he catches the pass, eyes come up, cup is pucked, and the puck is cupped, and then the eyes come up for a shot. Same thing here, and there's always exceptions to the rule. Players do score goals with their head down. Sometimes it's a quick shot. You can see this one, McKinnon, when he was in junior, kicks it from skate to stick, takes a shot with his eyes down and catches a goalie. So it's not in stone that you can only score with your eyes up or you can only score with your eyes down, but it's a lot harder to teach the habit of shooting with your eyes up, because shooting with eyes down or handling the puck with eyes down is a default setting for every player. Without deliberate training, they will default back to that. So it's on coaches, it's on development people to get those habits instilled from right, you know, as early as possible. We do it with initiation players, where it's just something as simple as when they're skating around pylons, you have a coach standing in the middle of the maze of pylons, and every pylon they have to go around, they have to look up at coach and, you know, say how many fingers he's holding up, or make some sort of read that just forces them to get their eyes up, because without that visual task, they're gonna be down too much. So hope you find this interesting. It's one of the subjects that kind of got me hooked on breaking down hockey at a bit of a deeper level. So if you have any comments or questions, feel free to put them in here. Always looking for feedback on this topic. Thanks.